On top of the brand new naughty Terrifier 3 trailer, Bloody Disgusting has just dropped their Green Band Nice trailer for the upcoming slasher. It might not be as gore heavy, but it does showcase a few new shots that raise more questions about this cryptic continuation. In today's video, let's break down these new shots and other Terrifier 3 updates that have this Art the Clown fan excited. Now let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we're looking at the nice cut of the Terrifier 3 trailer, but if you want to see me break down the naughty cut, check out this video here. A little card should drop down, and if it hasn't, here's a picture of the thumbnail. To recap a little bit, Bloody Disgusting has just dropped 2 new trailers for Terrifier 3, alongside some other stocking stuffers to build hype for this threequel. A new plot description for the film reads, after surviving Art the Clown's Halloween massacre, Sienna and her brother Jonathan struggle to rebuild their shattered lives. As the holiday season approaches, they try to embrace the Christmas spirit and leave the horrors of the past behind. But just when they think they're safe, Art the Clown returns, determined to turn their holiday cheer into a new nightmare. The festive season quickly unravels as Art unleashes his twisted brand of terror, proving that no holiday is safe. The previous plot description was just something about Art the Clown terrorizing residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift to sleep on Christmas Eve night. That was a little boring. This one is a little more detail-oriented. You know your boy loves him some details, baby. Let's go! Returning from Terrifier 2 is Lauren Lavera as Sienna Shaw, alongside her on-screen brother, Jonathan, played by Elliot Fulham. Samantha Scafidi is back to play original Final Girl turned Art's possible love interest, Victoria Hayes, and Chris Jericho playing Miles County Psychiatric Hospital attendant, Burke. I don't think he's gonna make it very long in this one, based on some of the pictures I've seen of Victoria likely eating his intestines. You're not you when you're hungry. And of course, David Howard Thornton playing Art the Clown. You couldn't make a Terrifier flick without him. There are many new cast members joining this sequel, including some horror legends like Tom Savini and Clint Howard, but today's video will focus heavily on Rob Zombie mainstay Daniel Roebuck. The dude plays Santa Claus in this movie, and we got some new shots of him in this nice cut that today's big theory mostly centers around. More on that later. Getting into some of these new shots, we first have some frames of the high visibility jacket guy, who I believe is so dead. I mean, Art has this guy pinned to the ground by the neck here, and as we've seen in this other new shot, the dude's got a box cutter. Chances of survival are pretty low for this poor soul. We can finally see his face in this shot here, meaning we have a character name for this meatbag. This is Eddie, played by actor Bradley Stryker, whose last name is spelled exactly like the Mortal Kombat character. If you timed that grenade move perfectly in MK3, this guy was unstoppable. It's almost like that godforsaken foot sweep. God, I love that game. Anyways, our next series of shots comes from the sorority house shower massacre, as I'm gonna call it, where we get a few new scenes of terror. The nice cut ends with a shot of Art picking up his big ol' bag of treats and throwing it over his shoulder, ready to spread some holiday cheer. And brains likely all over that white tile. We even see him choosing a weapon in this shot, likely the chainsaw here, before he slashes into Mia and Cole. The most interesting shot from this series is this one here, that may have just answered a few things about the story overall. I believe Jonathan has been dragged to this sorority house with his roommate Cole. Cole's here to bang his girlfriend Mia in the shower and die, but he probably dumps Jonathan off with Alexa, Mia's roommate. We learned that from this shot here in the last trailer, finally giving a name to Mia's roommate. This is just a guess, of course, but it would explain why Jonathan is here. This kinda looks like the same room that Mia is in this shot here, which I have to admit is exceptionally large for a dorm room. I've been in a few of those in my time, and they feel like prison cells, my god. Next up, we have a few shots from what I think is Mother Jennifer and daughter Juliet's murder. Chrissy Fox, who plays Jennifer here, screams in agony as Art finally comes down with that axe. I think this shot might be from the same sequence where Art waves at someone hiding in an attic. It's definitely not from the opening because he wasn't wearing the Arthur Claus get up quite yet. Maybe he's going after little Juliet, who didn't find a good enough place to hide. Man, this movie's about to be controversial. Finally, we have some new shots of Daniel Roebuck as Santa Claus, likely the one that Art the Clown fills in for in this scene right here. We got our first shot of Roebuck playing the character a few months ago. He appears to be at the bar drinking a beer after a long day of listening to children tell him their Christmas wishes. It would be really funny to see this guy complain about that and kind of come off as a douche. That feels very Rob Zombie, and I'm here for it. Considering the fact that he's likely going to meet his end via the hand of Art the Clown. Speaking of which, Arthur appears to be cutting the stripped character down here, which is likely the birth of Arthur Claus, as we see in this other frame. This is the scene where I think Art gets the chainsaw and his cute new suit. Red has always looked good on the fella.
Love your suit.
This has me rethinking the structure of this entire film though, as this scene appears to be at night. My thinking here is that Art walks into this bar, chops Santa in half, and steals the suit. He likely takes out some other patrons, and maybe the barkeep too, before heading off to the sorority house, where he unleashes more chainsaw fury. The shower massacre happens that night, alerting Jonathan that Art is indeed back, despite not believing his sister Sienna at first. Then the next day, Art heads to the mall where the kids look into his bag of goodies, likely filled with body parts opposed to toys. Actually, this new shot here shows him with an American Girl doll. What the hell is going on in this movie? Maybe he meets little Juliet in this scene, inciting him to follow her and Jennifer back to their house, where he finishes the job that night. Yikes. I'm sure some of you are going to point out that the controversial scene of this movie is said to be the opening, which I think still lines up with this theory. Based on a few scenes from the trailer, it appears as if Terrifier 3 will be a non-linear narrative, featuring flashbacks and time jumps. There's too much going on here for this movie to take place over one night like the previous plot description suggests. You're telling me this is just about Art the Clown going on a massacre over the night of Christmas Eve? Nah, there's a lot more going on in these shots from the trailer. Art the Clown is a freshly birthed severed head here, merely balancing on his decapitated body. Yet in this shot, he's back to normal, covered in cobwebs. We're already aware of that 5-year time jump in between Terrifiers 2 and 3, so it wouldn't really be out of place to do flashbacks and scenes from those past 5 years. Maybe there's something else we missed to tell this narrative now. I'm guessing the opening scene will feature Jennifer and Juliet, but flashes back to the beginning of this madness shortly after. That could essentially give you a tease of what's to come later on in the film with Arthur Claus, which, let's be honest, is a big attraction to this flick. Art the Clown dressed up as Santa Claus? That's awesome. We could provide that very fun opening scene and then get on with the exposition. There's more reason to believe that a time jump will happen here too, if it's this shot of Jason Patric, who I believe will be playing Sienna's father. As you might recall, that character died before the events of Terrifier 2, when he committed a certain word that would get me in trouble with the YouTube gods. It starts with an S, you know the one. I believe that this is that character, due to all of the horror drawings on the wall that matches the style of his drawings that we saw in Terrifier 2. Writer-director Damien Leone has also said that Patrick's character is crucial to the story of Terrifier 3, which has me pretty dead set on this theory. There's no way this movie can all take place at night, making me think the narrative of Terrifier 3 is going to be way more complicated than anything we've seen before in this franchise. It might even have a little Tarantino edge to it that I don't mind.
Say what again?
Get ready for Terrifier 3 to melt some faces with what could be the best film in the franchise so far. At least that's what I'm predicting. Before we wrap up today's video, I'd like to ask you all to subscribe to my gaming channel GullGotha. Once I hit 500 subs over there, I plan to start streaming, so please go check it out now. The link is in the description below. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. What do you guys think will happen in Terrifier 3? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.